As cinematographers and filmmakers, we own tens of thousands of dollars of camera equipment, but for most of us, if our house was burning down and we could only save one item, I think we all know that we'd save our data and our footage above anything else, as without a doubt, the most valuable thing we own is our work and our files. And this is only made more extreme for ongoing projects that haven't yet been delivered to the client or when we're on set. Our data is our livelihood, and if we lose those hard drives or we make a mistake on set and format the wrong card, the effects on our films, clients, and business would haunt us for years. Hey guys, welcome back. My name's Tom Park and I'm an underwater and wildlife cinematographer. Throughout this series, we're discussing the world of filmmaking and cinematography, where I'll teach you some of the things that I've learned over the last decade working in the film industry as an underwater and wildlife cinematographer. If you're interested in this sort of thing, subscribe and let me know down below what you film and what the biggest data error you've made to date is. We all have one. As filmmakers, we are constantly generating a ton of data. And with the Red that I'm now using, I'm generating terabytes of footage every shoot. From raw footage, drone footage, B and C camera files, second shooter footage, and images to sound recordings, scripts, project files, and more. Keeping all of this organized and secure on set and at home is no easy feat, but it's a skill that every filmmaker needs to master, as messing this up can be catastrophic for your production and your reputation. When we're on set or location, the chaos can be overwhelming, and we often find ourselves up at 11 PM after a long day shooting, trying to copy and back up the day's files from 4 to 7 different cameras, such that we can get our gear ready and set up for sunrise the next day, and also try and squeeze in a few hours of sleep beforehand. During this all-important data process, we're often fairly tired, and all we want is to get to bed, and it becomes quite tempting to try and rush this process. And this is where mistakes happen. Efficient and effective data management is the key to a successful shoot, and it's critical that you don't rush this process or mess it up. Of course, on larger productions, there will be a data wrangler on set. This is someone who is assigned to oversee the data transfer process and ensure that backups are made and that everything is kept organized. But for smaller productions where this isn't really a possibility, that responsibility likely falls to you. So here's how to do it like a pro. The first and easiest tip is to label everything. Label your memory cards, label your hard drives. For each of these, just literally stick stickers on them, identifying what's in them, what they are they a backup, are they a primary? Label your individual cables with tape or whatnot to distinguish them from different hard drives. The more things you can stick a label on, the less chance there is of you making an error late at night when you're copying files over multiple different hard drives from multiple different cards. This small step of labeling literally everything can save you from a lot of headaches later on, and it will help your tired mind at the end of a long day keep structure and avoid errors. I always also separate the memory cards by copied and not copied with simple tags, such as this, not copied and done or out, such that when I can pull the cards out of the camera, they go straight into the not copied pile. I've got my laptop here, and once they're copied and ready to go and I've backed them up onto 2 drives, they move over to the done or out pile. This very simple workflow really does go a long way to keeping things on track and clear in your mind when it's late at night and you're doing multiple different things to get ready for the next morning. It's also super helpful to separate memory cards by camera and tackle one camera at a time. This helps keep hard drives organized and easily allows you to check and verify that you've copied the files off each camera, as on multi-day shoots it can quickly become quite difficult to identify which cards on which cameras have been backed up and copied. The last thing you want to do is format the wrong card. The second tip is an obvious one. Backup, backup, backup. Always have multiple copies of your data. On location, I have a minimum of 2 separate hard drives with identical copies across both drives, and I always separate the hard drives and put them in different bags or Pelican cases while traveling. And where possible, I'll always keep one of them on my person, such as on my carry-on bag, and the second in a Pelican case. You really never know what's going to happen, and I've seen so many hard drives fail in the field. It's a terrifying thought, but if you always have a backup or 2, your footage and production will always be safe. The third suggestion here is to avoid using cheap hard drives and purchase a few SSDs. I learned this the hard way, and while SSDs are so much more expensive, on location they save so much time. To give you an idea, on a standard 4 to 5 camera shoot where we have our underwater camera, topside camera, drone, and then the photographer's underwater camera and possibly the photographer's topside camera, all of which use between 1 to 2 SD cards a day, we can have a total of up to 7 to 8 memory cards to copy each night. With productions typically wrapping up late and data wrangling happening well past bedtime, it's critical that these cards can copy and be backed up quickly. Using standard external hard drives like these, each memory card usually takes between 15 to 30 minutes to copy over. With 7 memory cards, each of which requiring at least 2 separate copies, a primary and a backup, this process of copying and backing up data on these slower external hard drives can take over 5 hours. This is not practical and it will keep you up at night. I've been here and I've done this, and take it from me, it's not worth it. Pick up a pair of SSDs like these and your entire process will take around 70% less time, meaning you can actually get your kit ready for the next sunrise much faster and get to bed on time. I should mention that there are also methods to offload data safely. These more professional productions use dedicated software for offloading data, and this software will also verify the integrity of the files once copied. This is slightly more advanced, and if there is a data wrangler on set, it's likely how they would be transferring files. But to be honest, providing you're making 2 to 3 copies of each card before formatting it, you should be fine. So now that we've got data management on set sorted, how should you manage data at home? This is something I struggled with for years, and probably like a lot of you, I amassed quite the collection of external hard drives. I reached a point that for a number of projects in post-production, I found myself trying to draw data from multiple different external hard drives at one time, and I found myself buying adapters such that I could be pulling data from 4 to 5 external drives at once, as my files were just spread out across so many different drives from so many different shoots. If you have ever been here, you know just how much of a mess working like this can be, and consequently just how easy it is for those external hard drives to fail, as they're really not built to be used like this. This is where something like this comes in, a NAS, or network attached storage device. And while this can be used in a number of different ways, like accessing files remotely anywhere on Earth, and synchronizing project files online between multiple different teams and different backups and NAS devices, I don't use any of that, and I actually never have had this connected to the internet. For me, this is just one big massive hard drive that keeps all of my footage and files in one 108 terabyte storage pool, and most importantly, it ensures the file's integrity by running regular checks and by running a RAID. What this means is that even if 2 of the individual hard drives fail immediately, which is extremely unlikely to happen, all of my footage will be secure due to the fail tolerance RAID system built into the device. Now, I'm going to butcher this explanation, but essentially, this system is consistently moving and copying data across all of these different hard drives in parity, such that there is always a backup of the file on the hard drive, so that in the event that the system integrity checks identify a corrupt file, this can be immediately rebuilt without me even knowing about it. And as I mentioned, in the event that a hard drive actually fails, all of the data is safely secure somewhere else on the hard drive and can be rebuilt. It's also a computer with a CPU and GPU, and I've got installed SSD cards in here as well that basically allow me to run my files in post-production much quicker over Ethernet or Thunderbolt, providing me much faster editing speeds than these standard hard drives. Yeah, I told you I'd butcher that explanation, but feel free to correct me down below if you know more about IT. But I don't really care about the IT specifics. For me, this is a fail-safe storage system that secures my data with extremely fast runtimes and 108 terabytes of storage that allows me to store all of my data in one place with one cable and one connection point. It's a storage solution built for filmmakers and video editors, and while it did hurt buying this, it has been worth every dollar. Managing filmmaking data can be a daunting task, but it's one of the most important aspects of our craft. Whether you're on set or working from home, staying organized and following these data management practices will save you time, stress, and potentially even your entire project. Going cheap on data management like this is not worth it. Anyways, that's a wrap for this one. If you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I will catch you in the next one.